Mr. Milbury, good morning. How much snow, if any, do you have on the Cape today?
Nothing. Well, we had plenty of rain last night, and lots of wind, but just none of that white stuff, which is fine by me.
All right, excellent. Where do you stand before we get to the Bruins on the Ryder Cup and Tiger Woods telling guys how much they have to give to charity if they get their money? Where do you stand on that?
It's time for Tiger to go away. You know what made him okay? He's a good golfer. What makes him able to dictate what other people should do?
Yeah, well, that's how Wiggy and Courtney feel.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
This morning, 100%.
I knew there was a reason I liked those two.
Well, win last night. This team is winning now. They made the coaching change, and how much of that of their success of late do you think has to do with a coaching change, or is it just the convenience of schedule and the teams that they're playing?
Yeah, well, I will get to that, but how many channels do I have to subscribe to be able to watch a local Bruins game?
You sound like Greg.
Yeah,
I got Nesson.
Yeah,
I got ESPN.
I know.
Tuesday night, nothing there.
I know.
TNT, nothing there on Tuesday night. It's on ESPN Plus and Hulu.
Yep.
Give me a break.
I know.
Yeah. Wasn't it like Max last night?
It's frustrating. It is, and it's probably an old guy thing, though, Mike, or old person thing. Like everybody.
No,
else
it's a money thing.
Well, yes, but Scheim told me that I was ridiculous the other day because it's simple on ESPN. I just download the app on my TV and I'm there, no problem. So I don't know.
All right. Well, maybe there's something to be said for that. But I used to like it when you could just put on Nesson and you knew the game was on, right?
Well, you preferred when it was on Channel 38.
Right.
Yeah.
And Greg, let's be honest, Scheim's really capping because it's not that easy. You have to have a TV that has the ability to download apps, or you got to know how to mirror your phone to your television.
Right.
It's not something that it's just like that easy to do.
Mike misses mini one-on-one.
I played in that. Last team to win it.
Yikes. Talk about painful.
Yeah, that's actually something that happened at Courtney's wedding.
Mike,
So
last team to win mini one-on-one the real way were the East Boston Mustangs, the team I was a part of. I believe it was 1989 when they used to be they had the one-on-one, then it was 2-on-1, 3-on-2.
Right.
Last team to do that. Now now they do it like half ice.
Did you watch it from the bench?
No. You only could have 5 guys.
Oh, okay.
So now I was one of the
congratulations,
5.
Wiggy. Let's move along.
Well, damn, Mike. I'm trying to live back my glory hockey days.
Well, looking back on the Bruins, since November 1st, they played 17 games. They're 10-7, and in those games, they've played against 5 playoff teams. Not really stiff competition. In the 8 games that Joe Sacco's worked behind the bench, they're 6-2, which is great, but they've only played against 1 playoff team, and they lost that game. They're looking at a really stiffer schedule coming up in December, and I think we're going to have a better idea. But having said that, there's clearly a turnaround here of some level. How significant it is remains to be seen, but you got to like the fact that they've started to win.
Mike, what's that say about the players, though, where it seems like they're playing harder for another coach, the new coach, than versus the old coach? And the old coach, it seemed like, was pretty good in the regular season. What is that saying? What's that mean if I'm a fan, that these guys just, if they don't have the right guy behind the bench, they're not playing for him?
Changing a coach is an interesting process, and you have to judge it. I mean, it looked like they were stuck in the mud. That doesn't mean the coach was always responsible. Maybe the culture was just not the culture, really. The attitude, the way things started at the beginning of the season, just conspired to make it a really rough start. And it did look like, people were struggling, and they're still struggling. The biggest problem about this team is its lack of offensive production. I mean, Justin Brazeau has as many points as Elias Lindholm at the quarter pole of the season. That's unthinkable, really. But they've turned it into a little bit of a winning streak, and I think the biggest reason is their structure defensively has gotten much, much better. But I really haven't answered your question. I don't know that I can. It's not. I don't think it's an indictment of the players that they're not playing for a coach. I think they get stuck in a mental rut. I think a couple guys maybe aren't playing up to potential. In this case, a lot of guys not playing to potential. And I think the general manager then made a decision. I don't want to lose this season. I think we need a new voice, and he makes the call. And by the way, Montgomery's not having a bad time either in St. Louis. I think they're 3-0-1 with him behind the bench.
Mike, at this point of the season, Korpisalo better numbers than Swayman. Do you put that as Korpisalo is playing great with these guys, or Swayman has taken a big dip?
I think Korpisalo has been the most pleasant and best surprise of the season. I mean, he was among the lowest ranked goaltenders in the NHL last year, and many thought this was just a throw-in for money, but whoever made the call on this guy and thought that he could actually play was right. I mean, he made a couple of brilliant saves against Detroit that kept the game close and allowed his team a chance to win. Swayman hasn't been as solid as he can be, but I think he's been better in recent games, and I think he'll continue to get better. I think the whole contract thing played games with his head, and I think he needs to get past it. I think he will get past it, and especially if the team plays with the kind of defensive structure, which really, that comes first in my book. You get hustling, you get checking, and you build out from there.
Mike, you like Zadorov calling out Raymond when it comes to it being a man's league and trying to sell a slash?
You know, I mean, I guess it's okay for him to call it out, but I just like to see him play a little bit better, make some better decisions. And he's big and tough, and he certainly can call out a guy like Raymond, but, you know, he's also leading the league in penalty minutes, and they're not all fighting majors.
Would you give Sacco the full-time gig yet?
You know, he certainly has the qualifications to be considered a full-time coach. He's been there in Colorado, and I know him as a player, and I've watched his work as a coach, and I love his disposition behind the bench. There's no up and down. It's just even keel. He's sort of got a good demeanor about himself behind the bench, and so it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but it's a little early. There must have been a reason why they gave him the interim name tag, and I don't know what that is. But as time goes by, and maybe at the end of this road trip, which has them playing 5 games out west against 4 pretty strong playoff teams, you know, that might be a time to consider it.
Just on the coaching thing, you would have better understanding of this than maybe anybody, having been a player, a coach, and an exec. How much conversation is there between coaches and other organizations in season about potential opportunities with those clubs? Like, there's no way Monty just all of a sudden got a text from the Blues when he got fired. How pervasive is that in the sport?
It's not pervasive at all, and it's illegal. You can talk to Jim Montgomery, could talk to Doug Armstrong all he wants, but you can't. He's under contract to the Bruins, and they can't discuss future employment. It's against the rules, and I don't recall doing it at all at any time except with my agent. You know, when I was a player, looking for opportunities. But there was a pretty strong history with Jim Montgomery and the St. Louis Blues, and obviously Armstrong thought he was far better than the guy that he had behind the bench, and he made the call immediately. I don't think there was anything tricky about it. I think that it was set up to be this way, but it wasn't set up intentionally during the season while he was under contract.
There are some, maybe considerable some, who listen to this show who express their frustration with the job that Don Sweeney has done. However, he was named the GM of Team Canada for the Four Nations tournament. Does that say that he is really well respected around the league for the job that he's done?
Sure it does. I mean, he's been manager of the year and I think a finalist on another occasion. But this situation that he's in now, and I think we've talked about this, was the result of him pushing all the chips into the pile 2 years ago when they thought they had a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup, and push him, and he did, and we all thought it was a great idea. We all thought Orlov was a terrific pickup, and Bertuzzi was a terrific pickup, and Hathaway was a terrific pickup. They were good pickups, but somehow they ran into a better team. They blew their opportunity, and he's paying the price for that. So I think when I look back on it, I guess I give him not a pass because the result wasn't there, but I understand why he did it. I thought it was a good move at the time, and I think he probably deserves more time to correct that, what turned out to be a mistake, and in retrospect, and get his draft group in order, because that's where they're going to get better.
On this show, we've been giving Marchand a pass this season when we've been critical of other players on the team because of his age, about all of the surgeries he's had, so on and so forth. But 2 goals last night. Does he still have that fight in him? Could he still play for a few more years, you think?
I don't know how much longer he wants to play. It's tough to get ready, especially when you're in a hospital 3 times over the summer. I think I had to work twice as hard when I was 36, near the end of my career, to get ready to play, to really want to play, to feel like I could play. But he is, he's a hockey hound, and I think he's got another couple of years in him, but I don't think we can expect the kind of production we had in the guts of his career. And, recently, though, you got to love the way he's playing. I got to love the way he says things as a captain that seem to resonate with me, and if it's resonating with me, I would think it's resonating in the locker room. So it's a great sign that he's turned it around. It's a great sign that the team has won games and played with some responsibility. You just need to see a lot more. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest problem I see with this team is the production. They just don't have it down the middle to really make a statement, I think, deep into the playoffs. But there's plenty of time left, and maybe time for Lindholm to figure it out.